What is up, guys? It is Meg. We are back in the car again for another car review of the latest Fear the Walking Dead episode, season 4, episode 7. I don't remember what it's called. I just filmed kind of a video telling you guys a story of why I didn't film a reaction and review last week or the week before. We had a week break. So if you want to see that, I'll be posting that video later. But I want to talk about this episode because my car is overheating and the AC is on, and you know how that goes. I've also had some car problems lately, so I don't want the car to die. I want to talk about, okay, this episode was freaking crazy. It opens back up to John, like, he's been shot. Seems like he's dying. Naomi's trying to save him. Alicia's trying to kill Naomi. We're like, why is Naomi with the vultures? Why is Alicia trying to kill her? Like, it's just this crazy start to an episode. Somehow Naomi is with the vultures. It didn't quite explain that in this episode, unfortunately, which was my only real complaint was that they kind of they almost explained it and then they stopped right when they could have. I feel like this is crooked. So Naomi, for one, Alicia was just like, oh my God. I think that Alicia thinks that Naomi had something to do with, I think she thinks Naomi was like a spy in on it with Mel from the time she met Mel. And I think that she thinks Naomi had a hand in the, basically in what happened at the stadium, which we see the start of at the end of the episode. Because she's like desperately trying to kill the woman. And Naomi's like, she says at one point, she goes like, you don't understand, like it's not what it looked like, sort of thing. And Naomi pulls up in the station wagon that had the supplies that was supposed to be for Madison and Alicia and Nick. So, which we saw in one of the flashbacks, Madison briefly mentioned it to Naomi. So Naomi knew about it. So I really want to find out like the rest of that. Alicia's also so angry that she blows up the ambulance truck that had literally all the medical supplies in it. We see very quickly the death of Mel, which I was disappointed. I have to say, like, I know that it's coming to a close, that part of the story, but I have to tell you, like, I was really disappointed because I really liked his character. I was really disappointed that they took him out so quickly, that we don't get to see anything more from him. Like, oh, it just made me so mad. And he just went like, for one, also, why was that part censored? Did you notice that part was censored? She went to like stab him with the end of her like sharp pole thing that's attached to her gun now, and we didn't even see it. So I thought that was kind of weird, because normally like they don't hold back on the gore and that kind of thing, and it felt very censored. It felt like I was watching it on some cable channel that like can't show any blood. It was weird. Let me see. So Althea's filming, not helping at all, which I thought was so, she's like, this is not my story, and she's literally filming and watching all these people like self-destruct, which I get it. Like, for one, she doesn't really have any loyalties to any of them, so she doesn't necessarily like feel bad, sort of thing. But it was weird to me. I didn't like it. John's literally dying and Morgan has to like talk her into helping save him, which kind of bugged me. Anyways, Althea, Morgan, I'm reading my notes real fast. John, Naomi, just so I can hurry up. They take off back to the stadium because that's the only place they say that the vultures haven't raided, haven't touched the stuff. Which seemed kind of odd. Like, how did they not, why did they not go in and get the stuff? They were clearly very much alive afterwards. Anyways, and then Morgan grabs Charlie last minute, which, like, knowing that Charlie was the one that killed, knowing that Charlie was the one that killed Nick, he still, like, saved her, which I thought was great, because Lucy didn't shoot her, but there was a moment there where she was, like, thinking about it, you know? Thank God Charlie is a child, otherwise she would be dead because everyone wants her dead. So Charlie's with them, and then we get the flashback, and this is the big flashback for this episode. Was basically we find Mel in an accident. Charlie comes to them for help. So she comes to Madison. Madison brings Mel back to the stadium. They're like patching him up. He's like, you don't understand, we've got to go. And I'm thinking that he means like, he's like, I can't be here. I'm thinking he means, you know, he's gonna get killed because he's like, you know, in with a bunch of people who don't want him there. But he knows that his brother is bringing hundreds of walkers there to the stadium, and that it's not going to survive. And so he's trying to convince Naomi. Naomi's trying to convince Madison. Madison doesn't want, she throws him out, basically. Doesn't want him, I guess she wants to save the stadium, and like, if he wants to go, fine, go, but you're not gonna take Charlie with. And I think this, like, her determination to save the stadium and to provide that safe place is what ultimately was their downfall. If they had left before this happened, the first time they were warned, they would have had a chance to take supplies, pack bags, and go and hide somewhere or something. Like, I get it. They don't want the vultures to have their stuff, but it was frustrating when nobody was in agreement with Madison, really, in like shoving him out, pushing him out, leaving him to die, and staying in, you know, and staying inside. And I think even, was it Nick or was it just Naomi that was like, I guess Nick didn't say it, but anyways, I can see both sides. I really can. I can see why she would want to try and work to save the place, but at the same time, like, when you know, and she knew that, like, what, like 700 walkers were gonna be let loose there, like, there's only so much fortifying of the walls that you can do, and 700 walkers all in one spot pushing on a fence, the fence is gonna come down, you know? So, I don't know, I wish that she would have left. So we see that Alicia and Nick go out, which is such a change in them. It's so crazy to see them at the beginning. So flashback from the beginning, you know, to present day, where Alicia's like death to everyone, like she's on a mission to kill them all, and where she was actually going out and saving Mel with Nick and trying to do the right thing and trying to bring him back and seeing Charlie's pain and, you know, trying to like make right. And so they end up being stuck outside. We see them, they pull up to the stadium. They pull up to the stadium and they see that the ice cream truck person's already there, right? They pull up to the stadium and then they just sit there and watch as like the convoy pulls up and they let out all the walkers, and it's almost like they were like, whoa. And then it's like, oh shit, we're surrounded. Like, you could have fucking driven away. Like, I don't even, did they get surrounded? So tell me if I missed this part, okay? Because now, as soon as I said that, I was like, did they get surrounded by the trucks, or were the trucks like lined up and they were in front? Because it looked different in two different shots. One shot, it looked like Nick's car was like up front closer to the fence, and then the convoy was like kind of around them, letting the walkers out. And then at one point, it looked like they kind of did a circle. So I don't know. I need to watch that part again. But, they just sat there, like they didn't even try and drive away, and they let themselves get surrounded by like 100 walkers or more. So like, I don't know, I felt that part was so stupid. Like, you could have at least driven away. Maybe if you had driven and honked your damn horn, the herd would have followed you instead of surrounding the stadium. Like, whoa, there's a thought. That hasn't been used before. Like, I don't know. I just like, it pissed me off. There was no common sense there. So they also, like, the vultures put up a wall of fire, and I couldn't tell if I thought they were gonna let the walkers out, let them cross that gasoline line and then light it on fire to keep the walkers inside. But it almost looked like I don't know, it was weird. It almost looked like the walkers were on the outside of the fire, because later at the very end of the episode, when Althea and them drive through the fence and they go in there, all of those walkers that are inside there are burned. So they definitely walked through the fire to get in there. So I don't know, like, I'm confused. Again, I need to watch again. Now I also lost my train of thought. Oh, and then we see Strand and Lucy and Madison. They're all like, we're gonna go out there, you know, to save Nick and Alicia. So I think like that part at least is how those those four, because Madison didn't make it out, stayed outside and managed to survive, whereas the rest of the people are assumed dead inside there. My thought is, and this is what I think is gonna happen, I have not actually even seen commercials for next week at all because I had to watch the end of the episode online, but so I haven't seen any commercials for next week, but I think that Strand and Lucy are there at the gate waiting for Madison. Madison goes to get the prepper car, you know, the car that Alicia prepped, but that car is already gone and Naomi has already taken it or something. And I think Naomi probably took it for a different reason. Maybe she was trying to help them or something, but I think like that's what led Alicia to thinking that it was Naomi's fault too. I think Naomi took the car, and I don't know, like, I don't know. It kind of feels like it makes sense, like maybe Madison went for the car and it wasn't there, and so she got stuck inside, whereas Nick and Alicia were outside and Lucy and Strand maybe made it outside, I don't know. And then we arrive back at the present day where they're all breaking into the abandoned stadium. We see the burnt, crashed ice cream truck, and they drive through the wall into the stadium, and all we see are walkers. And it so reminded me of Naomi going back to the FEMA shelter and finding all of her friends as walkers. So at first when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's everybody that lived there as walkers, but they're all burnt and went through the fire. So I'm thinking that these are just the walkers from the outside. I would love to see like Cole survive. Is that his name, Cole? You know, and obviously Madison, like we don't know where they're at. So I don't know if they're like holed up there somewhere. That would be amazing. Or what, but we have the mid-season finale next week, so hopefully we get closure on that. I do have to say, and I said this at the end of my reaction video, but I'm just really disappointed in Fear and the writers, producers, and whoever decided that we needed this giant time jump and that we weren't going to explain it. That it really bugs me, because now at the end of 8 episodes, it almost feels like irrelevant. Like it's not important for us to know what happened to them in between the dam and where we're at now at the stadium, that I don't think they're gonna really explain it. Because there's no need to, because we already have seen how far our characters have come in being happy at the stadium to where they are now. So it's like so much, we've learned so much about their present state of mind, like it almost seems like irrelevant to see how they came, how awful they were, or how bad off they were from the dam up to the stadium, because then they were happy at the stadium, started over, had a great life, and then that all came crashing down. Like it's just, it's like I feel like they just were like, we're gonna revamp the series, and they revamped it and we're like, forget everything that happened before, we're gonna start over. And then we start over without Daniel. And we get no information. And obviously in the mid-season finale, we're not gonna get any information. And I really don't think we are in the back half either, except maybe to find out where Daniel is. And quite frankly, it's, the Daniel thing is like the Heath thing in The Walking Dead. No mention of him whatsoever, at all. No like, man, I wonder where Daniel is, which is just like Heath. Fucking Tara went back to the sanctuary, didn't say one fucking word about Heath. Heath's missing, we should go search for Heath. I don't know where Heath is. Where do you guys think Heath is? Like, fucking nothing. Which is the same thing they're doing about Daniel. Like, nobody gives a shit where Daniel is. So yeah. I don't know. That's just my rant for it. And my rant is that they killed off a good villain so quickly. And I get it, we have to have, like, they can't last forever, but I just didn't like his death at all. So, I'm hoping that we get, you know, like, somehow we figure out in the mid-season finale where Madison is, because I'm gonna be real pissed off if we don't see Madison until next half of the season. And I hope that we, like, Alicia finds out that Naomi's not as awful as she seems, and I really hope they don't kill off John, because it's fucking John. Like, he's the only really likable character right now. All right, you guys, that's it for this review. I really enjoyed this episode, though. I really did. Let me know what your favorite parts were, or what you think of this episode in the comments. What are you expecting to happen in the finale? No spoilers, but let me know what you think is gonna happen. And I will see you guys next week. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.